So what is China likely to do and capable of doing next? So this is something a lot of people have been curious about. It's a pretty broad topic, I guess, and it's pretty limitless. So this is a pretty long answer. I'll try to get through this as quick as possible. Maybe we'll skip a few parts. But yeah. So in this answer, this was from 2 years ago. A lot of stuff has been already worked upon in China. Who knows? Maybe even fixed. Some things in here have already been started, like long-term projects. And we're gonna look into that. Unfortunately, there isn't an updated version of this, so we'll have to go with this one. Let's get started then. So starts out with China stands on the edge of almost limitless possibilities, and in order to attempt an answer to this question, I need to limit the scope of the answer to fall within my fields of probable expert knowledge and my personal interests. These categories of my interests and possible advances are listed below. So, some important things here. So his forecasts of what the government may do next are based upon extrapolations of past policies and upon the new industries inherent in the higher latency of the 5G and 6G faster internet communication systems. His forecast of the massive development of the Megacity of Jing-Jin-Ji. The construction and creation of this intended 130 million population, highly advanced capital region will not only create the biggest urbanized megalopolis region in northern China, but perhaps also the most important area of inventive and innovative development in the world, rivaling the Pearl River Delta in the south and the Yangtze River Delta in the east. So the reduction of Alzheimer's among Chinese people. So Alzheimer's is a huge issue around the world, really, and I hope I don't get it in the future. But personally, I think if you keep your mind active, you keep learning and stuff even into your old age, you will be much less likely to fall into that trap. So it appears to be the most prevalent of the central nervous system's diseases in China at the time of this writing, with an estimated 9.5 million diagnosed patients. And it varies among provinces. And most of it is neither adequately diagnosed or treated in many countries. Research shows that most people currently living with dementia have not received a formal diagnosis. In high-income countries, only 20 to 50% of dementia cases are recognized and documented in primary care. This treatment gap is certainly much greater in low and middle-income countries, with one study in India suggesting 90% remained undiagnosed. And if these statistics are extrapolated to other countries worldwide, it suggests that approximately 3/4 of people with dementia have not received diagnosis, and therefore do not have access to treatment, care, and organized support that getting formal diagnosis can provide. And modern science has discovered that poor dental hygiene is probably the major cause of Alzheimer's. So yeah, that is probably the case because nervous system's connected, So the size of the dementia problem could be 5 to 10 times larger than the numbers of people currently diagnosed. So you got your studies here. check it out. I'll have the link in the description to this answer. You can check it out for yourself. So, in other words, much of Alzheimer's, as well as pneumonia, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, I think that's how it's pronounced, heart disease, hepatitis, and throat cancer, could be prevented by better dental hygiene. But how best could China and the Chinese people cheaply and effectively do that? So I think China has, in general, pretty good dental hygiene. So here's something you could do: prevention of Alzheimer's by small daily program doses of xylitol in morning tea or coffee. So when you get up in the morning, getting some tea or coffee, put some xylitol in instead of sugar. Xylitol is a false sugar. It does not kill bacteria directly, but starves them by locking onto them and not letting them go. So that's how it works. It looks as if pneumonia can be completely prevented by small doses of xylitol in your morning tea. I had pneumonia before when I was a kid. I felt like dying pretty much. It's that bad. But it's a pretty rare thing to get, I'm guessing, for most people. Those are the benefits of it. So apparently China is by far the largest world producer of xylitol. But the people do not use xylitol as frequently or as appropriately as they should. Yeah. So if you eat sweets immediately after drinking a xylitol sweetened tea, then you destroy the mouth, brain, and blood protection system you have just set up. So this kind of lifestyle requires quite a bit of discipline, I guess. And it depends on the Chinese people, because the government cannot force that kind of lifestyle onto the people. And apparently many British dentists know about xylitol, but doctors do not. The reduction and possible removal of metabolic syndrome diseases. So the Australian professor David Andrew Sinclair has made enormous advances in epigenetic understanding. Take 1,000 milligrams of resveratrol a day, then the sugar-based metabolic syndrome diseases are likely to be massively reduced. This is no small matter. So all the links are in this answer. You can check it out for yourself. It's a quite extensive study. When he writes these answers, it takes him usually a week or two of drafting and stuff, and part of the reason it takes so long is they gotta do a lot of research, The Chinese government removal of the dependency trap. Sinclair's protocols are a new system of death control. Taking 3 pills he takes produces a new kind of human being, a person with a superior immunity defense system. These daily pills are 500 milligrams of metformin, 1 gram of resveratrol, and 750 milligrams of NMN. And what this produces is a length of life becomes indeterminate. Or more accurately, because 75% of the usual medical causes of death are removed, it becomes impossible accurately to calculate the average probable lifespan. Basically, you're more likely to die of accidents than a natural, death in 100 years, if you live that long. The longer you live, the higher the chances of accidents causing your death. Yeah. So the major effect which ends the lives of SIDS enhanced individuals are likely to be accidents. So, because the Chinese sage Chan Chang told Genghis Khan, eternal truth, life can be extended, but death cannot be prevented. And as Dr. Roy Lee Walford reported, if human aging were completely preventable but accidents continued at the same rate as today, the 50% survival can be calculated as around 350 years and maximum 600 years. So the Chinese government could extend the life and lengthen the health span of the Chinese people by adopting the Sinclair current protocols. So there it is there. And it seems outlandish, but they could potentially extend the lifespan of their people to about 600 years. I estimate that the average increase in lifespan might be no less than 20 years and no more than 50 years. But the continued consumption of some Chinese high sugar or high fat diets could substantially reduce these. So the Chinese government is apparently highly informed about these issues. And the observations: at present, the radiation on a trip to Mars would kill the occupants of the spaceship, but Sinclair's research is very likely to provide a survival pill for that journey, with profound implications for human life on Earth. And China is usually at the forefront of this issue. I remark at section 4.2. So you can see an excerpt from that. The most intelligent government in the world are in discussions with Professor Sinclair. The highest levels of the Chinese government appear to be involved in these discussions. This was written 2 years ago, so you can probably guess that at this point they're already well into this kind of program. So Professor David Sinclair mentions he's advising a large Asian nation, which is China, on how economic growth and a healthy population intersect. This gets down to how to transform the planet economically and not just health. The advice I'm giving that nation, and it's at the highest level, they now want to know how do they raise up not just the economics but the health of their people. Because they're very clever. They know the two have to go hand in hand. So that way China could completely bypass the dependency trap. The protocol not only extends lifespan but also increases the period of healthy lives, so workers remain very productive throughout their working life. China could not only have the largest and culturally greatest economy in the world, but it also could have the healthiest people. This new system of death control might increase the Chinese population by about 1.05% a year, rather than about half of that for at least 20 years. This will increase China's population by about that much here, or by 40% by 2050 and 6% by 2025. Life expectancy will increase to over a century by 2025. Seems a bit soon, but if they were adopting this protocol, that could happen. The Chinese population is therefore likely to increase from 1.384 million or 1.384 billion, to about 1.457 billion by 2025, and to about almost 2 billion by 2050. So that is if conditions are ideal. So the possibility of the removal of the dependency trap by China is likely. So these are minor improvements Chinese people could take in their lifestyle, I guess. And it's something that could be prescribed by the government. So this is to help with skin burns and stuff. Oh, minor quality of life improvements. A Chinese initiative in epigenetic research. So the Chinese government should invite Andrew Sinclair to establish a new academic chair. Department either at the world-class University of Shanghai, Jiatong University, or through the creation of a new medical research center at Tsinghua University at Beijing, or both. It seems inappropriate that China should not be one of the leading nations in the biomedical advances in life extension, and I think that situation should be corrected by appropriate government action and investment. So the current small-scale trials of life extension drugs in Boston, South Wales, and Japan are interesting, but the small scale is inappropriate and the results are slow to merge. Chinese funds and involvement could accelerate results in this area as elsewhere. I agree. So China's got the economies of scale. It's not limited by funding, and its government is very efficient as well. So they could substantially reduce many diseases by preventing multi-germs migrating into the blood and into the brain, by publicizing and by bringing about the general use of xylitol as a disease preventive procedure. So get people into the habit of using xylitol instead of sugar. Metabolic syndrome could be similarly reduced by the daily use of a gram of resveratrol. Their lives could be substantially longer and much healthier through Sincare's 3-pill anti-aging protocol. Small burns can be immediately treated by NAPCA spray. And the Chinese government should consider making due arrangements to bring about a Chinese leadership in the new science of epigenetics. A Chinese program about how to accelerate economic growth linked to a program for reversing global warming. So China should not accept the continuation of global warming and the consequential flooding of its coastal cities. China should lead the Paris Agreement because only China has economic understanding and manufacturing capacity to reverse global warming. We see this already happen, as I said before. It's happening right now. A successor to the Belt and Road Initiative is required in the form of another Chinese worldwide program towards global warming in the greenest possible way. Chinese funding for this program should be conditional on the acceptance of that principle. Inadequate research has been conducted about the meteorological implications of reversing global warming. According to my limited understanding of the Lewis-Fry-Richardson weather equations, initially small cold spots can lead to major localized depressions and large storms. In any program for the reduction of water temperatures, the predictive value of the Lewis-Fry-Richardson weather equations should be taken into account by modeling on Chinese megacomputers the effect of small artificially created cold spots on the creation of large subsequent depressions and megastorms. The provision of a high-speed encrypted biphoton singularity internet, he hasn't elaborated on that. The new industries arising from the 5G and 6G internet accelerators. These new developments will mainly be made possible by the Chinese government and sale of multi-dimensional VR helmets such as the Lenovo VR 1541F or the Xiaomi Mi VR standalone virtual reality headsets. Every one of the following lists in 3.4 below deserve an explicit description Yeah, but this answer has already taken me over 3 weeks holding only drafting, and I prefer to upload a provisional answer now, which I'll update when I can. Yeah, that's a crazy amount of research just for this answer. The new billion-dollar trillion yuan industry is arising from the 5G and 6G internet accelerators. These are for individuals. So this is like the stuff for individuals. So we got teleeducation, teletourism, teleworking, televisiting, teletraining, telefront row sports watching, tele-entertainment, and telecomputer gaming. And for the wider society here, driverless cars, large social gatherings, expert social group meetings, remote medical operations, cooperative international meetings. So with COVID, we can definitely see how that would be helpful. The calculation and use of the 22 Ganger predictive causation growth equations from previous years, provisional credit creation. This is something in his area of expertise. I don't really know anything about it at all, to be honest. So this is the creation of the megacity of Jing-Jin-Ji. And includes many cities as well. So Beijing, Tianjin, and some other cities, the names I cannot pronounce. Can't really see it, but let's see. Okay. Alright, so these are all the cities. You can check it out for yourself. The Chinese government intention is to create a 120 million population city. This emerging region is rising as a northern metropolitan region, rivaling the Pearl River Delta in the south and the Yangtze River Delta in the east. Jing-Jin-Ji had a total population of 112 million and was as populated as Guangdong province. So he thinks the population of this conurbation will reach 150 million by 2025, and may contain sufficient SMEs to spark much greater growth in the future. So what would most likely happen, based on what we know now, is that the Chinese population would become significantly healthier. The country itself could escape from the dependency trap. If these 3 suggested protocols become an official part of Chinese medical policy. So, most likely they already are. It's been 2 years. I'd be surprised if some of these at least weren't considered. So yeah, so that was what China is likely to do, and probably already is doing. The possibilities are truly like endless, and there's really nothing stopping China from trying out all these exciting new policies that they're at the forefront of development. So I don't see what's stopping them from doing all this. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.